Yo, what's going on, guys? So the patch notes for the early access season 6.5 are out, which is the semi-wipe. I'm sure all of you are familiar with the what's gonna happen. Basically, well, their logic is they want to take the semi-wipe to test gear for in a period of time, so so they can make changes, just random modifiers, things like that. However, everybody knows the real truth behind this, that they don't have any fucking content ready, so the game is not ready to be released. So they are pushing it back by at least 2 months to work on the content because they are slow and terrible at their jobs and all deserve to be fired in game, except some of them out of game. Um, and that is why the early wipe or the semi wipe is happening, so they can basically blind us with changing gear a bunch and making the game even more worse than it already has been previously, and just ruining the game and making the game terrible and making me hate the game, making me not want to play the game, making me upset. Anyways, that out of the way, let's get into the patch notes, shall we? So they start off fantastic. I have already read these, by the way, which I'm sure you could tell by the tone of my voice and how angry I already am. I have already read these, so I'm not going to read everything again, but start off. Fix an issue where blocked attacks should pass through a shield. Fix an issue with some weapons that could bypass shield guards and deal damage. Fix an issue where the post-block animation could be skipped. And fix an issue where we're repeatedly pressing the block key could result in consecutive block attempts. Fix an issue where excessively fast parry animations could occur when all inputting multiple rapid attacks. So basically, these are all the blocking issues. That's like scroll wheel parrying, the last one, desync blocking. I'm pretty sure, which is the post block animation could be skipped, stuff like that. I think maybe I could be wrong when I get into the game. I'll test it, but you never know. And the top two, obviously, just making blocking a little bit better. But you can read all these issues if you want. Some of them are good, some of them aren't. I don't really care about most of them. Game updates, Twitch drops. The Awakened Mummy Boost event has begun. No idea what that is. Discounts applied to bandages and potions. Doubled the collector's buyback price for certain treasures. New cosmetic items released. One new race and two new emotes. In-game party system added. You can now invite players to party by by pressing Y when you meet them in the dungeon. To be fair, actually pretty good change. I'll admit it. Not a bad change. Solo, duo, and trio modes have been unified. Try entering the game with a pre-made party or use the in-game party system. So no more what's it called? You can't solo queue or duo queue. There's only trios now, which we knew it was gonna happen. And the pre-made party, just queue up with the pre-made basically, right? Or meet people in game and queue them. Added a maintenance notice pop-up. New feature added to display PvP attacker information in the adventure results screen. Cool. Random matchmaking has been disabled, so you can no longer random queue up in trios and find people and queue with. So now you have to queue with a pre-made, or you queue as a solo or a duo. You cannot queue up and get random teammates. Random modifiers removed. Random modifiers removed. I mean, we knew it was coming. I hoped, hoped to God and prayed that they would not do this because removing random modifiers entirely, I think, is one of the worst decisions they could make. I was talking about this on my stream like around 20 minutes ago, talking with Repose, Ken, Harry, like, a few people. And it's just, I don't get it. Like, this isn't good for the game. Like, if you want to decrease gear disparity, then there are different ways to do that. Removing all random modifiers. So the thing is, does it technically decrease gear disparity? To an extent, right? But, if I'm in legendaries and you're in blues or greens, I'm still going to have a very large advantage over you. That's never going to change. And if I have the ability to get legendary gear and clad myself in full legendaries and you're in, only in greens, chances are I'm probably going to kill you because I'm probably a better player. Not always, but probably. Doing this this just removes the point of the game. I have no reason to loot. I don't have a reason to PvP. I don't have a reason to boss. Everything I want to do revolves around gear of some point. You loot to get better gear. You kill players to get the gear off their bodies. You boss to get the best gear. Things like that. And now that's not really the case. Because, a legendary is just a legendary. Every legendary of an item will always be the same. A legendary pair of reinforced gloves will always be the same item. And with all the people playing and how, good loot is and how easy it is to find legendaries, there are going to be a million of them. They're not going to be very expensive because everybody's going to have, because everybody's going to be finding the same ones. There's not going to be much build diversity because you're effectively going to have to build the exact same items every single time. That's another problem with this, is like build diversity. You are never going to build that many, like maybe one or two pieces gets interchanged, but for the most part, there will be a de facto best build that you will go every single time. There's no more, oh, well, you could use this or this depending on what the rolls are, which one's better. It's okay, you will always use this because these are always going to have the same stats, and so therefore you will always be using this one. It's just terrible. It makes the game not fun. Like, I'm going to get on the game and I'm going to try it, but after that, why would I don't know why I would get back on the game. I don't have any incentive to play. Literally everything the games has stood for and has been about for 2 years is completely removed by this. And then furthermore, they've tried this before. Patch 69, we were there, we remember. No one wants this. It's not good for the game. This isn't fun. Like I said, you tried this before, it failed, throw it away. Like we should do with you guys. You tried, you failed, you need to be thrown away. I'm talking to you, SDF. Get fired. Please. Please. Maybe the game will survive. But anyways, you can now move, unequip slash or equip slash unequip and drop items in your inventory while in the resting state, except for the items that require casting time. New Merchant, Huntress, and Nightmare Mummy. Destroying unreinforced doors is now solely dependent on the impact power of a weapon and is no longer restricted by class or needing to equip the Crush perk. This is good. I like this change. I think overall this is a pretty solid change. Something I've been talking about for a while. Problem with this is not every class technically can do this. Barb can do it, Cleric can do it, Fighter can do it. Rogue has no way of doing this, I'm pretty sure. I don't think they have any weapon that is big enough. I think they're like heaviest, like their strongest weapon is like a short sword or something. That's not breaking a door. Ranger and Druid, assuming they both have access. Well, I think Druid can use Morningstar. Morningstar should do it. But assuming Spear can do it, then Ranger can too, or maybe like Crossbow or something. But I don't even think Crossbow can. Maybe Windless Crossbow. Yeah, I guess Windless Crossbow probably could. But yeah, like, this is cool. I would like there to be a different system maybe rather than just all weapons break it, but it is what it is. When kills occur due to special conditions, the kill log will more accurately display this reason. Random dungeon system has been applied to the Ice Cavern and the Ice Abyss. Dual boss rooms restored in Ruins at Goblin Cave. The random dungeon system has been upgraded so fixed modules will always appear on specific maps. That's pretty much so, like, I'm assuming how that means, like, the boss room will always be in the center of the map. Again, because otherwise dual boss room couldn't, like, dual boss room will always be in the very center, and, Goblin Caves or what's it called, like the Troll Room and Cyclops Room will always be around it, effectively. The Frost Mountain now features a Blood Freeze mechanics to discourage camping in high altitude areas. Extraction point timings have been rebalanced. The Dark Swarm Circle has been removed from the High Roller dungeons. Previously removed fixed extraction points have been restored in the High Roller dungeons. All character skills except for the Rogue's Pickpocket and Wizard's Magic Lock are allowed in Adventure Mode. Dungeon Recovery is now enabled only for Adventure Mode. In Adventure Mode, players who fall to their death will now be eligible for Dungeon Recovery. The amount of each sub-boss monster spawns and roads have been rebalanced. The health for the Cave Tron Cyclops has been increased. The attack pattern for the Skeleton Swordsman, Common / Elite, have been adjusted. The Gathering Hall is now divided by language instead of server region and supports input in language other than English. Updated the low violence option to significantly remove more blood from the game. Updated the VFX changes for several things. Rank colors added to the adventure screen results. Improved sound effects to provide when receiving a message. Don't care. UI updated when entering the dungeon and improved view pop-up UI. Okay, on to balance changes. So, classes. Vigor scaling has been adjusted, reducing overall max health base values. Cool. Damage multipliers for each body part have been updated as follows. Head, 150% to 200%. Body, 100% to 125%. Arm, 80% to 100%. Hand, 50% to 100%. Legs, 60% to 75%. And foot, 50% to 75%. So, we removed all random modifiers, which means automatically people are significantly less tanky because you do not have the ability to build HP or PDR or armor or any of that outside of the stuff that exists naturally on your gear. And we then reduce the VIG scaling, so we overall lower max HP even more, and we reduce the amount that you can build because Vigor scaling has been reduced, and this is the only way to get health now outside of a few items that have max health on them as a base. And then on top of that, we buff damage significantly for headshots. Headshots go from 1.5x damage to 2x damage. Body shots are doing 25% more. Arm shots are doing 20% more. Hand shots are doing 50% more. And then legs and feet are both doing respectively 15% and 25% more. So now, pretty much, you are not going to be doing anything less than 100% damage to someone. And in a meta where everybody just got much squishier. Headshots got their damage. So At this point, a barbarian can probably one shot half the classes in the game with a headshot. Just throwing numbers out here for no particular reason. Let's take a windlass crossbow, for example. I believe a legendary windlass crossbow has somewhere around the mid 60s to damage. I think it's 64. That's what someone told me was 64 damage on a legendary windlass crossbow. If you headshot somebody with a 64 damage weapon, it gets multiplied by 2. So your 64 damage becomes 128 damage. You've nerfed all random modifiers, or removed all random modifiers so people can't build health, and you have nerfed the vigor scaling. Wizard base kit is going to have somewhere around 75 health, I believe. Maybe a little more, probably not. They're going to have about 75 health. A legendary windlass crossbow headshot to a wizard is going to do, I would say, anywhere around 100 to 115 damage with 0% fizz power. So if this wizard is in full vigor gear, he might live a windlass headshot from a ranger with 0% fizz power. But we all know the ranger's going to have probably at least 20% now in strength gear. 5% from Riveteds, 5% from Forest Hood, 5% from Padded Tunic, 5% from Heavy Boots, and then, rings, Tattered Cloak. So, we're just going to call it 20% to be generous here. So it's more likely than not that windlass headshot is going to end up hitting them for somewhere around, I would say, 120 damage. So you are going to have to go full health gear to even attempt to survive that. And, let's just keep going here because I think there's something that's the reason I brought up that specific example for a reason, right? Fighter. Counterattack movement speed bonus change from 10% to 5%, and sprint movement speed bonus change from 15 to 10. So catching people now is going to be nearly impossible because there's no more movement speed, so you are forced on Fighter now, I would say, to wear light foots and probably loose trousers as well. Otherwise, you don't have any way to ever catch a class. That's just how it is. Barbarian. Base strength changed from 25 to 20. Resourcefulness changed from 7 to 12. Movement speed on Rage changed from 12% to 7%. Savage Roar's movement speed reduction changed from 5% to 2.5%. And Achilles duration changed from 2.5 to 3 seconds. Everything here is whatever. Nothing crazy. Berserker was not touched, which is insane. Barbarian is arguably the best class in the game now. I think it's up there with Ranger and Fighter, which you'll see why in a second. Rogue, base vigor changed from 10 to 6. Agility changed from 21 to 25, dexterity changed from 25 to 20, and resourcefulness changed from 20 to 25. These changes literally are just making it so Rogue has, they're just removing Rogue's ability to fight. They are making Rogue much, much worse fighting, and they're improving its ability to be a little rat that runs around, which is stupid, right? I don't even want to get into this. It's just brain dead. Ranger, backstab count reduced from 2 to 1. Overall, fine. Not as important because it's going to be much harder for people to close the distance on you, but fine, I think. Warlock, anti-magic's magic resistance changed from 25% to 15%. Blood Pack's armor rating and magic resistance bonuses changed from 30 to 50. When a Warlock uses Blood Pack, they will now also be considered a demon race. Immortal Lament has been updated to prevent death from self-inflicted damage after transforming into a demon using Blood Pack. Exploitation Strike's duration changed from 4 seconds to 6 seconds. Phantomized movement speed bonus changed from 5% to 10%. Evil Eye can now be used again. I'm going to be honest with you guys, I really don't even feel like talking about some of these changes because, I could sit and waffle about why did they buff Phantomized movement speed from 5% to 10%, but mostly I don't care because with random modifiers removed, most of these classes like Warlock are just going to be terrible. You have no magic healing, you have hardly any move speed, you have no true damage. You have a little bit of like a Phoenix Choker, right? But you have hardly any true damage. This class just sucks. You're just bad. Druid. Nature's Healing no longer scales with Magical Healing. Shapeshift Mastery's magical damage bonus penalty reduced from 50% to 25%. Rush's stat count reduced from 2 to 1, and cooldown reduced from 20 seconds to 18 seconds. This is the Panther Dash. Nature's Touch duration changed from 12 seconds to 8 seconds. Restore duration changed from 10 seconds to 8 seconds, and the heal amount changed from 30 to 20. Sorcerer. The cooldown of Sorcerer spells updated to the following formula. Tier 3 plus 9. I don't know what that is. I don't know. Time Distortion. Cooldown changed from 3x to 2x. Time Distortion's debuff duration reduced from 6 seconds to 5 seconds. Action speed bonus per stack changed from 6% to 5%. And movement speed bonus per stack changed from 2% to 1%. Damage per fire arrow changed from 8 to 7. Items. Items. Reduced the weapon damage gap. So once again, we don't know how significant this is. We have no idea. So that is that. New armor rating curve and new armor rating stats for regular armor pieces. Improve the underlying hit detection when a system when blocking with a shield. Players can no longer raise their shield again before fully lowering it. Um, Improve the animation and collision of several weapons, including the club, flange mace, lantern shield, buckler, and the ceremonial staff. Added/adjusted more hit detection and damage zones to make attacks more consistent for several weapons, including the Bardiche, Battle Axe, Crystal Sword, Double Axe, Flange Mace, Hatchet, Horseman's Axe, Morning Start, Spear, Wizard Staff, Zweihander, and Warmaul. Adjusted the counterattack damage multipliers for the Longsword, Lantern Shield, and Flute. Unequipped bows will now be unloaded upon first entering the dungeon. See, this is just one of those changes that you look at and it's like, why? For what? Anyways, all daggers weapon damage decreased by 2. So nerfing Rogue again. Warmaul weapon damage decreased by 2. Battle Axe weapon damage decreased by 2. Double Axe weapon damage decreased by 1. Morningstar movement speed decreased by 5. Warhammer movement speed decreased by 5. Longsword weapon damage increased by 2. Longbow weapon damage increased by 2. Crossbow weapon damage increased by 2. Windlass crossbow weapon damage increased by 4. 4. Like, I don't even know if this is just like it's 3 in the morning and I'm tired because I'm really not. But I'm not even mad. Genuinely, I'm not. I'm not even mad. Reading these patch notes, I'm not even mad because on some level I've come to terms with this game is just dead. That these devs do not have any level of competency inside of them, and this game is just dead. The game is dead. Your plan is to remove gear difference, which effectively balances the game better. Yet you buffed 3 ranged weapons. You buffed you buffed the highest damage weapon in the game by 4, while also buffing headshot modifiers and body shot modifiers significantly, while nerfing everybody's health and making them squishier. If you are a wizard, if you are a warlock, if you are a druid, if you are a rogue, and you see a wizard with a windlass crossbow, if they hit you, you die. I'm pretty sure. If they hit you, you just die. That's it. There's nothing else. You just die. That's it. And I just, I look at it. I do. I'm looking at these patch notes, and I'm trying my best to think how this could ever be considered intelligent. How these could ever be considered good ideas. I mean, I don't know why I'm saying this, but who in their right mind would ever implement these changes? It doesn't make sense. It doesn't. Genuinely, I was talking to Ken before this, right? And he said something and I agree. If I were trying to literally end my game, if I were trying to get every player to stop playing my game, these are almost one-to-one the changes I would make. This is it. I don't think this patch could have been much worse. I don't. I don't think it was possible. They basically nerfed Rogue in 3 different aspects and made them much, much harder. They made it so Rogue has a much, much harder time fighting. They made them squishier. They lowered their dexterity. They lowered the damage of all daggers, right? While buffing their agility and resourcefulness, which is buffing the rat playstyle. They remove all random modifiers, and then they lower HP for everyone across the board, while significantly buffing headshot modifiers and other body modifiers. You are doing on average now, if you hit a headshot, you are doing, I would say, somewhere between 30% more damage than pre-patch, while everybody is much, much squishier because of that modifier, right? 50% is so much. A 50% increase modifier is a ridiculous amount. And you're gonna see it when people get into the game. This is gonna happen. I would say within the first few days, you're going to see a bunch of rangers running out the windlasses, and they're gonna one tap everybody. And if you aren't someone who is capable, like if you don't have full purple or legendary Vig gear on, they're gonna one tap you. That's just how it's gonna be, and you don't have a say in it. If you're not a ranger or a fighter, barbarian's gonna run around and one tap you because of the modifier, because they're gonna be using like bardishes or whatever that have like 60 base damage, and they're gonna hit you in the head for 140 or 150 with their all their fist power they have from like berserker and stuff. And that's just gonna be the game. The game is gonna go back to everybody's getting one tap by everybody. And the PvP isn't fun because even when you kill somebody, their gear is meaningless to get because it's just a bunch of no rolled items that you don't care about. So what are like why? Why are we doing this? I don't understand how we end up here. But I can say this with more confidence than I've ever said it before in my entire life. This game, going at the rate it is going and going in the direction it's going, will die. This isn't a matter of content anymore. This isn't a matter of adding content to the game or adding new maps, adding new classes, correct class balance. This is just this is like I don't know, this is like fate, right? Like this is like the red strings of fate are wrapping around Dark and Darker's throat and strangling it. And at the end of those lines, holding it is SDF. That is where this game is at right now. He like because the thing is, right? Because there are two possible options here, right? Two possible options. One, the far-fetched one, believe it or not, is SDF actively wants to kill his game. And every change he is doing so is pushing the agenda of actively trying to kill Dark and Darker for whatever reason. Which you would assume that's not happening. The second option, which honestly I believe is worse, is that SDF genuinely believes these are the correct changes to make for Dark and Darker's future. And clearly, I would say he's wrong. I think most people will agree with that, right? Most people would say these changes are terrible. And I don't think there's a third option because we know now, we've confirmed with 100% certainty everything that happens goes through SDF. Every change in these patch notes, SDF has given the green light for. So to do this has to mean one of the two things I just said. Either SDF wants to kill his game, or he believes these are the correct changes to make. And if he genuinely believes these are the correct changes to make, Dark and Darker does not have a future. Dark and Darker is going to die as long as he is at the head of it. And that is what it is. There is nothing else I can say. And I've said it 100 times. I've said it a million times. That's it. He will kill this game. And it's not even slow at this point. I firmly believe that this semi-wipe, because I'm actually curious to see how many players there are on start of the wipe. If there are more than 20,000, I will be shocked. I would expect if these aren't changed, like if these changes don't change like drastically, I would expect within a week the player base to be under 10,000. By 2 weeks, probably under like 8 or 7,000. But within a month, I could see us having around 5,000 players on the game total. I don't really expect more than that. I don't think people are going to want to play the game. Um, and I think that's just what it is. And even then, if they decide to change this, no one's coming back for the semi-wipe if they change gear. I don't think anyone cares about that. And for the next wipe, if they add the water map, that'll probably bring some players back. But if the gear isn't fun and the purpose of the game isn't there, then it doesn't matter how much new content you add because there's no reason to play. There could be 30 new maps. I'm not going to play them as long as my gear isn't fun. Like the gear isn't fun because I have no incentive to loot. I have no incentive to PvP. I have no incentive to play the game. That is what it is. Right now, I want all of you to think. I want all of you to sit there and think about this. Think about things I'm about to say to you. This wipe, there will be no leaderboards. All of the quests are done. There's some new vendor supposed to have like some quest or something, right? I don't know what it is, but it's probably gonna be stupid stuff. So effectively, there are no quests. There are no leaderboards. There are no quests. The gear has no modifiers on it. There's nothing to farm for. So think to yourself and answer this question right now. You don't have to type it in the comments. You can if you want to, but you can just answer it to yourself. And I'm sure I'm gonna understand the answer. Why should you play this game? Why? What reason is there for you to load up on this game? I'm sure the comment answer would be like, oh, well, for fun. Where's your fun gonna come from? If your answer was for fun, where's your fun gonna come from? Think about that for me. Just think about that. Moving on, so I can finish this up really quick. Pavis movement speed penalty changed from 25 to 50, and impact resistance changed from 2 to 3. I don't even know what this means. I'm pretty sure it didn't put. I don't. Pavis didn't. I don't think Pavis was 2. I'm pretty sure Pavis is like 6. But whatever. Anyways, I don't care. Warhammer armor penetration rose from 20% to 10%, which means we double nerfed Warhammer. Warhammer was the only viable fighter weapon for a wipe, or Warhammer was like the best fighter weapon for a wipe, effectively being the only viable one, and we nerfed it twice. That's cool. Adjusted the primary attribute of many crafted items, and adjusted the recipes for several crafts, including Ghost Dust Bag and Poison Bottle, and removed the previous boss summoning craft recipes. Developer comments. Welcome to the semi-wipe. All your previous items in gold have been reset. We've also reset your triumph level, so you have the opportunity to earn additional bluestone shards until the start of the next season. The adventure rank leaderboard is concluded for the season, and the new leaderboard will not start until early access season 7. Quest progression has not been reset with the semi-wipe, so we've added a guest merchant with several all-purpose quests to keep advanced players busy for the remainder of this season. Okay, so sorry, the quests that were in the game before are still in the game, so you can finish those off, and that's what it is. Finally, the new arena rank season will start on July 11th. This semi-wipe is not a wipe to introduce new content, shocker, but a mid-season reset of specific balance parameters to introduce a substantial shift in the design direction of the game. See, this is what's funny to me. This is what's funny to me, by the way. A mid-season reset. Mid-season. Mid-season. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Just correct me. But I'm pretty sure this last wipe went on for over 3 months. Now, a mid-season would imply that the entire wipe would be 6 months long, but we know that's not the case, so it's not a mid-season reset. It's a you guys are failures reset, and you don't have content ready for the real wipe, so you've got to do something to delay between this wipe and the next one, because if you release another wipe with no content, everybody's going to quit playing your game and think you're stupid, and failures, correctly so, and move on with their lives and forget about this game like most of us should do. But you're not going to do that. So you're just going to release this and have a bunch of gear changes to try to shake things up that no one wants. Surely. Anyways, balance parameters to introduce a substantial shift in the design direction of the game. The actual content-specific wipe is scheduled to occur a little later this summer, with the start of Early Access Season 7 in late August. So, right there, the next wipe will be minimum 2 months away. Minimum 2 months away. Yeah. Just, no, I don't even, yeah. Instead, the semi-wipe focuses on addressing balance of the modifications to data and supporting features with a specific focus on the following 5 points. Power gear gap. Battle shouldn't feel hopeless just because of the difference in the grade of gear. Loot value balance. At the same time, upgrading higher gear shouldn't feel worthless either. Combat feel balance. We want skills and tactics to have a little more influence on the outcome of combat and to fix things that feel off in combat, like Windless is one-shotting you. Class balance and build viability. The outcome of battle shouldn't feel hopeless based purely on class matchups. See, this is my favorite thing, by the way. So all of these they talk about, right? But then they say class balance and build viability, and then they don't say anything about the build viability. All they say is, oh, well, the game it shouldn't feel hopeless based on your class matchup. Okay, what about build viability? And you know why they didn't say anything about build viability? Because they know for a fact that build viability doesn't exist anymore. Every class will have one good build, and that is all you will play. If you're lucky, you might not even have one good build. You might have one mid or one terrible build, and that's just the best your class has to deal with. And you're shit out of luck for anything else. I hate these idiots, man. God, they're so bad at their jobs. Dungeon party composition and dynamics. Finally, there should be ways to survive either through combat or strategy when a person doesn't have the luxury of entering the dungeons with a full party. We also want the dungeons to feel dangerous for everyone, not just the casual or outnumbered players. The semi-wipe introduces the basic systems that begin to address the above points. We have currently removed the previous random modifiers from items as they were the largest contributor to the gear gap. Please note that although the random modifiers have been removed for the start of the semi-wipe, we may consider a different iteration during the mini-test we have planned for the remainder of the season. If we feel we can make them work within our balance confines, if we feel we can make it work within our balance confines. We've also adjusted the curve formula of the attributes so the primary modifiers and the items make them feel like an upgrade without going too far. So I assume this means that per point things are bigger. Like going from 3 decks to 4 decks should be a bigger upgrade than previously. So, cool. A large-scale adjustment to the armor and damage curves have been normalized, has normalized the ability of characters, leading to less extreme and baffling combat results. See, this is really, really funny. Because this isn't right. This is wrong. You literally just made everybody squishier and buff damage drastically so everybody's going to die even faster. So when somebody gets one tap peeking a corner on a ranger by a longbow, they're going to freak out. This just shows that you guys are idiots and you have no idea what you're doing. Failures. Changes to the hitbox modifier also give greater emphasis to attack precision, giving much more improved combat feedback. No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. This is just who can headshot who first wins. This isn't fun. This honestly, this makes it so the longer your weapon is, the better it is because you're more likely to hit somebody in the head and to one tap them first. Like, which makes rogues once again just nearly unviable unless you like landmine someone. Rogues basically do not have a playstyle now that isn't just landmining or hand crossbow with a million throwing knives. You can never melee anyone because you get one shot. A rework of the underlying blocking system also significantly improves the precision of shields and parrying. This rework of armors and weapons, along with adjustments to several perk skills, makes it so more class matchups are viable across wider combat situations. No, it doesn't. To better support solo and duo players, we've added an in-game party system that allows players to organically form a party within the dungeons. The current gathering hall has been temporarily updated so players can find a party based on their language. High impact power weapons can now easily destroy or can now destroy a door without needing to equip a special perk, giving all classes the possibility of run or chase. Lies. They don't. Literally, they don't. Rogues don't have one. You don't have a way to destroy doors. Druids and or at least druids, rangers probably also don't have one. Wizards still have to use spells, that sort of thing. Anyways, dungeon layouts have also been improved with certain fixed modules to provide POIs that adventurers can strategically congregate or avoid based on their circumstance. Please note this is just a starting point, and we plan to have many updates to build upon and polish the systems as related to Early Access Season 7. We look forward to building this new foundation together with you. Thank you, and see you in the dungeon. Go and clown emoji that. Yep. Yeah, wait, was this Wake Up? Yeah, hit that one right there, too. Anyways, um, yeah, I mean I don't this is like this to me just like this is like a slap in the face. We look forward to building this new foundation together with you. No, you're not. You're building whatever you want and you're not caring about what your player base has told you time and time again consistently that is terrible and they do not want. You do not care what your players want. You do not care what is fun for your players. All you care about is what your little man SDF at the top tells you what to do. That is all that has ever mattered to this company. That is all that will ever matter in the future. This game is going to die because SDF has like little man syndrome where he has to control every single thing and he has to make it perfect for him. No, he doesn't care about what anybody wants. He doesn't care about what's good for the game. He doesn't care about what's fun for the game. SDF, I hope you listen to this. You are a failure. You will kill your game, and I pray to God you get fired because you do not deserve your job. This game does not deserve you to have you at it. This game, sorry, does not deserve you to have you at its head running it into the ground. Like you were literally shoving Dark and Darker's face into the ground, forcing it to eat dirt, and just pushing it into its grave. Like you are using this game as a shovel to dig its own grave to throw it in. It just like it couldn't be like I went into this with zero expectations and I'm still disappointed because somehow some way we have managed to end up in the same spot again for the 7 millionth time where we are implementing changes we've tried before. They have failed. Players didn't like them. They failed. Everybody said they didn't like them. They finally removed them. They tried it again. They're going to fail. You can only do this so many times. This semi-wipe is a failure on Iron Mace's part to deliver content. These patch notes are a failure on whoever's on the balance team that I know doesn't exist. This part to deliver good balance. Everything about this game is a failure and reflects just what kind of company you guys are and the head that you have. And at the end of the day, the game's going to die. And I'm honestly, at this point, I'm not even really that sad about it. I'm just kind of expecting it. So, we might be rowing this boat together, boys, but there's a whole lot of holes that have been in here by the captain, and it's starting to sink. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll catch y'all later. Peace.